when the Ford engineer William Clan, when he visited the slaughterhouse in Chicago. I don't know why he went there, maybe for vacation, but I wouldn't go there for that. And when he saw that process, right, of a few animal dead bodies hanging in a quickly moving line, and when those different parts of the animals were pulled out quickly, and he thought it was a very efficient process. And then in the meantime, he was trying to figure out how to manufacture cars faster. He was thinking to himself, was like, why not, right? Why not just use a model like this? Instead of having things pulled apart, I just need to have the mainframe of the cars just hanging in the line, right? Or set up in the line, and then have all the parts ready and put together when it's moving through the line like that. And then that quickly was implemented and lowered the cost of manufacturing cars dramatically. And that made the cars available, or actually they were able to mass produce cars and then made them available to the general public. So that was one of those beneficial aha moments. And I know you guys probably have a lot of interesting aha moments too. Does anybody would like to share? Anybody? Any guests? Oh, Nelly, go ahead.
I would share more where I have my aha moments. So I don't know why, but often my aha moments either come when I'm in the shower, just on autopilot, or doing some form of exercise, and I will literally like need to pause, whether it's yoga or dance, and just grab a notebook, because after that second, if I didn't capture it, it's gone and I don't know how to get it back. It's just kind of like this sudden flash that comes in and all of a sudden leaves. I would say I recently had one where I got an idea to create a wellness tool. I'm not ready to share what it is, but that was recently, and it was after I was just soaking my feet in some hot water. So I don't know what it is about water or movement for me, but that's definitely the spark for my aha moments.
Interesting. I mean, keep that thought. You might come up with something really useful and make an impact on society. And does anybody or anything more interesting? Not, we are moving to the next session is our joke master, Avinash. He is a very active member of a club, and he's usually signed up for multiple rows. Today he signed up for 2 rows. His first row is trying to tell us a joke or inspirational thought here. Let's welcome Avinash.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Toastmasters. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. I'm going to share a small story with all of you. So once there were 2 monks, they were traveling together. They came to a river, and as they were preparing to cross the river, they saw a young, beautiful woman sitting on the banks of the river. She requested if they could help her cross the river. So both monks looked at each other because they have taken a vow not to touch a woman. But one of the monks, without speaking a word, he picked her up, carried her towards the other side, and placed her gently. And after this, they both carried on with their journey. The other monk, he could not believe what just happened. He kept thinking on and on about what had just happened. An hour passed, 2 hours passed. Then he could not resist himself. And then he asked the other monk, how could you do it? We as a monk, we took a vow not to touch a woman, and you just did that. The other monk said, my friend, I dropped the woman 2 hours back on the banks of the river, and you are still carrying her. That was my short story. And the message I'm trying to tell here is about staying in present. We in our lives, we ruminate about the past incidents, conversations, thinking that, oh, why that person said something particular to me. I should have said this. I should have done that. We keep ruminating about past. And in the process, the only people we are hurting is ourselves. So I think we should let go of what doesn't serve us anymore and just concentrate on the present moment. That was my short story. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Avinash, for this inspirational thought. I'm definitely with you on living in the present and try to live our life to the fullest. Thank you. So next, I'm going to introduce our grammarian. Our grammarian tonight is Bailey Beatty. She is actually fairly new to our club, just like me, joined 3 months ago, but she's already doing a lot of roles and gave our speeches multiple times, and she already had a ton of experiences. Today, she is serving as our grammarian, and let's welcome her to introduce the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Greeting fellow Toastmasters and guests. So today I'm going to be tallying filler words throughout the meeting today. Words such as and so, you know, etc. And like I said, I'll be keeping track of what that looks like throughout the meeting here. And I have picked a word for the day, which I'll insert into my name here. And it's going to be insight. So insight, meaning the capacity to gain, own accurate and deep intuition or intuitive understanding of a person or thing. So again, the word is insight. And I will throw it back to Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing the word insight. I already used it. So next, let's welcome our timer, who is also the secretary of a club, Jimmy Cruz. And just he's also very new to our club, and he's already our secretary. So let's welcome him.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Greetings, fellow Toastmaster and honored guest. I am going to be your timer for today. I'm Jimmy Cruz, and part of my role is going to be keeping an accurate time, as I've done this once before in the past, of your speeches, table topics, evaluations, icebreakers, which can be the table topics can be a series of individuals going, but the icebreakers can range between 4 to 6 minutes. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. Table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. And the speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. So if we're having a speech, my job is to change my background, alerting the person who is presenting. If it's 5 to 7 minutes, my screen will turn green at the 5-minute mark. 6 minutes, it will turn yellow. And at the 7th minute, it will turn red. I will be giving a 30-second grace period in between for table topics, since it's between 1 to 2 minutes. That'll be a 30-second interval going from 1 minute green, 1 minute, 30 seconds yellow, 2 minutes red. Thank you, and I'll turn that back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for explaining all the rules. And now we're getting into the prepared speech session of tonight. Like Jimmy said, this is going to be a 5 to 7 minute session, and we have 2 great speakers tonight. And first of all, we have Ali Tobin, who is our Secretary of Membership, I believe. Yes, Secretary of Membership. David, you have a presentation setting up. So he's also known as the Real Estate Investment Guru now club, and he's doing a level 3 speech today, and his speech title is Make Connections Through Networking. He's going to show us why it's important to network, and then how do we do that. Let's welcome Toastmaster Ali Tobin.
You got, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me on this microphone? Okay, I'm gonna start this back over. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Hello, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. It's a pleasure to see you guys. I haven't been here in 2 weeks. It's been rough. Been working and making things happen. But today, we're here to talk about your network and how your network is your net worth. Really, I want to focus on the characteristics to find in a person to surround yourself with, how to find those people, and overall, how positive people can have a great impact on your life. At first, I want to start by a quote from Jim Rohn. It says, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." I can't sum this up in so many words. This is 100% accurate. The people that you spend the most time with every day, the people that you talk to on a constant basis, whether you're your family members, your coworkers, or your friends, whoever you're communicating with majority of the time throughout your day, that is a direct reflection of yourself, you know. And we seem to surround ourselves by people that we can relate to, people that we see ourselves into. And this quote is very powerful. And then I'm going to go to Mr. Dan Penna. He says, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." When I first read this quote, it shocked me because that is the truth. Your friends are a direct reflection of you and what your future is. If you're surrounding yourself by negative people who are negative, you're going to be negative. But if you're surrounding yourself by positive people who are trying to change the world and are trying to make themselves better, you're going to be the same way. It's a direct reflection of you. And so now we need to ask ourselves, when you're out here looking for people to surround yourself with, you're out here looking to network with people, what are the type of characteristics that you look for into these people? Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one. You want to find somebody that's genuine. And when I mean genuine, what's in somebody's heart? You know, how do they treat their family? How are they with their friends? How do they treat their coworkers? How do they treat their employees? You know, what is really in that person's heart? You want to find somebody that is a good person overall. The second thing I say that you have to look into people is motivation and drive. You need to surround yourself by people who are motivated and driven. Somebody who wants to become successful. Somebody who is obsessed with wanting to make an impact on their lives and wanting to make an impact on other people's lives. And that follows up with being successful. Now, whatever you want to do in life, you want to be a school teacher, you want to do hair, you want to be a chef, you need to go find somebody that is in your field or in your career and go seek that person out. And you just need to be a sponge to that person. Surround yourself by successful people and you will become successful. One of the most important parts, this is like one of my favorite characters about myself, is positive. I cannot stand negative people. I'm gonna repeat it again. I cannot stand negative people. You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have had a dream and idea. You guys know we got some of these people in our family. We got some of these people who are our associates, and they come to us and we're speaking to them. And every time you talk to this person, it is a negative person. In that case, I say block them and remove them immediately out of your life. Keep them from a distance. You want to be surrounded by people who are positive. Every time they come to you, it's something that is a positive mindset. The words they speak are positive. They encourage you. You encourage them. When you guys get together, it's a positive environment. That is so impactful on your life. One of the most important things to see in somebody is helpful. And when I say helpful, I mean, are they looking to help other people? What's inside that person? Are they looking to help somebody? Or are they looking just to help themselves? And there's nothing wrong with that, because you got to help yourself before you can help somebody else. But are you helping yourself for the right reason? Are you helping yourself because you're selfish? Or are you helping yourself because you know you're being the best version of yourself? You can actually help other people. So you need to look for people who are looking to help other people along the way. And then I want to go to this: hard worker. I want to repeat again: hard worker. A hard worker. And I'm gonna tell you guys what I mean by that. You guys know some people who work hard, and you look at them, you be like, my God, that person works hard. Make them your best friend. Make them your best friend. You know some people, you're like, my God, when does that guy ever make time? Make that person your best friend, right? Success is infectious. You see somebody working hard, that makes you want to even work harder. So make that person your best friend. And I want to go to the last one. This is not so much important, but this is very important to me and can be very important to you too. Money motivation. I know we have some people here who dream of being a wealthy or rich, and financially, you are the 5 people you spend the most time with financially. You guys really make the most money and within that same field. So whatever your money motivation is, if you want to be wealthy, I would go seek some wealthy people out. And I would get around them. But last but not least, where do you find these people at? This is the main question. You have so many resources out these days. Social media has changed the world. You have Eventbrite. You have LinkedIn. You have Meetup. You have Facebook groups. You have Toastmasters. But most important, talk to strangers. Talk to people. When you're out in public, network, grab numbers. You know, if you're going to an event, go there to meet people. If you're at a bar, yeah, I'm at the bar, I'm having a good time, but I'm looking to see who can I meet, because I'm trying to network, because my network is my net worth. So talk to strangers and meet people and exchange contacts. And then from there, you become a very successful person. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I appreciate you guys listening to my speech. Your network is your net worth. It's the most important thing, part of your life.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Ali, for this great speech. And I was really, it was pretty motivational. And I know for a fact that I'm already surrounded by a group of motivated people here. So we're all trying to work hard and trying to improve our public speaking skills. So coming up next is another great speaker who is the VP of Education in a club, Elvis. Elvis is doing a level 4 dynamic leadership pathway, and his speech is about how, like, what your social media presence is telling about yourself. And his focus is trying to talk about how to influence, how to brand yourself with the use of social media, and how to do it in the right way. Let's welcome Toastmaster Elvis.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. By show of hand, how many of you use Facebook? Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat? Well, I'm sure you know many of those available sites and applications that constitute what we call today social media. And I'm sure some of you also are going even further by writing a blog or even posting videos in YouTube or some of the other channels for videos that are out there. And as we think about it, we've come to realize that it is almost impossible nowadays to think about going with our lives without using one of those sites or apps. What do you think about it? As I saw your hands going up as I was calling out some of these social media apps, I noticed that all of you, at least, are using one of those apps. And many, like myself, find or can be found using several of those apps. Some of them are more popular than others, and that might be determined by the age ranges or the interest, in particular if it is for personal use or for professional use. And the fact is that the impact that they can make, and they are making nowadays in our lives and the society at large, is something that can't be overlooked or ignored. In my case, for example, I grew up in an era where the internet or social media explosion was not a thing. I came to interact with internet or social media when I was actually a young adult or a teenager. That is not the reality for our children or my children and the younger generations. And that also defines and determines how friendly social media can be for those like me, for example, that having grown up and developed in an IT career, I am not as adept or tied to social media as, for example, other younger generations can be, or to put it simple, as my children are. And giving another example of that, for example, I created a Facebook account like 10, probably 12 years ago, and LinkedIn about the same time. Now, it was not until 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, that I had to change jobs, or I found myself in a situation where I had to start looking at how to improve my networking and putting myself up in the market, that I realized how important it is what we do or what we don't do in social media. Your personal brand can be totally influenced by the things you say, by the things you do, or like I said before, by the things that you don't do in social media. So it is extremely important that we pay attention to the things we say, the things we do, or how we say it, or how we decide to say it. It might be taken as if you're an antisocial or somebody that is actually antiquated if all the people within your social circle are sharing comments, sharing experiences, or sharing about a topic and you're not. In that same way, you could be the next candidate for a position, or what you say or what you don't say in social media could be the tip point for you to be selected as the best option in your new job opportunity. I don't suggest using social media in particular to do direct attacks or to do disclosure or make disclosure of personal or proprietary or private information. And be very careful. We have to be very careful when doing that. I actually know of a case of somebody who actually got fired from a job just for posting something very personal at a Facebook page that was against the policy of the company. So when we look at it, there is a positive way or positive side, and there's always a negative side. So try to be positive. Show content that reflects that you are growing, that you are learning, that you are compassionate, and that you are supportive of others. In the same way, try not to be detrimental in the way you say things, or make sure that even when you say things, even if they look funny to you, they might be impactful and cause something that you might have to pick up later on, because it might cause a negative effect on you, your life, and those surrounding you. Now, to summarize, I would like to say that social media can help us both at a personal or professional level. Choose your content, choose what you share, what you say, and how you say it. And don't forget to always keep doing it actively, because it might also impact positively your personal or professional life. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Elvis, for your insights on the use of social media. And to be honest with you, I'm really inactive on social media. Maybe that helped me to stay away from the trouble. I guess from your speech, I can tell I'm also missing out a lot. Maybe I should probably start using it again, try to use it in the right way as you suggested. And now I just received a message from David saying that we're not doing polls tonight, but I would still like to have the timeless report, so our speakers will get the correct feedback. So Jimmy, you ready?
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster, I'm ready. Both powerful speeches, excellent job, both Ali and Elvis. With Ali's time of 6 minutes and 54 seconds, he qualifies. And Elvis as well. I was looking for him to cut it off at some point. It was just, I was so drawn in, I almost didn't catch it on the last minute, but he actually qualified as well at 7 minutes and 27 seconds. So phenomenal job, to both of you guys. I mean, I was drawn in, I was intrigued. It was good. It was very good. So thank you. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jimmy. So now we're moving into our next session, which is usually the very fun part of this meeting. It's the table topics discussion. It's certainly the part that I'm not very good at, and I probably can use a lot of practice and also aha moments actually when I try to come up with answers. Tonight we have Avinash. Again, he's doing his second role, serving as the table topics master, and he's gonna introduce the rules and then also call out for questions. Let's welcome Toastmaster Avinash.
Thank you, Sean. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. My name is Avinash Singh, and I will be the table topic master for today's meeting. So in this part of the meeting, I'll be asking you questions for which there is a limit of 1 to 2 minutes. You have to answer the question within 1 to 2 minutes. And I would encourage everybody to take part in answering the questions, and please volunteer yourself. It's a good practice for impromptu answering the questions. So I would be, anyone ready to volunteer for the first question? Okay, David, I see your hand.
Well, it's not going to be for me. It's going to, our newest member, Jamie, is going to come up and take one of your questions.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Hello, everybody. I'm a little tall.
Hi, Jimmy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So my question to you is, what is your aha moment in life that you remember most, that comes to on top of your mind?
The first one that comes to mind, I think it was when I realized at a young age that I had a pretty strong work ethic. To Ali's point, I was a hard worker, but I think I also took it a little too seriously in terms of getting joy out of the work that I did, finding fulfillment in the work that I did, as opposed to focusing on the results, focusing on the outcomes, focusing on how other people perceived me as a hard worker. And so as I transitioned into later parts of my life, whether that was high school or college or then into my career, recognizing that I got the most fulfillment out of the joy of just applying myself, learning, growing as an individual. I think that insight was particularly important for me in terms of moving beyond the focus on the mechanical and the tactical, and instead growing as an individual. I think that's my response.
Perfect. I couldn't agree more. I think it's important. The process as well as result is equally important. So good. Thank you for your response, Jamie.
Thank you.
I'll move to the next question. So let's see who's the second volunteer. Please raise your hand.
Real quick, we have a guest. I didn't see him in the beginning, so maybe he would take 1 minute to introduce himself, and that could be part of a table topics question. It's S. Brian.
He's a member. Stuart.
Sorry, David. Yes, my username.
Oh, it's Stuart. Oh,
is
okay.
S. Bryce.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't recognize
I
you
don't know
not
how
being-
to change that.
I didn't recognize you like not being here. Okay, too funny. Well, I guess you were just called out to do a table topics then.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the next question goes to you, Steve. Describe your feelings when you have aha moment.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. To describe my feelings when I have an aha moment is difficult. They seem to be very few and far between. I remember listening to Balut last week and his explanation of how when he's presented with a problem, he takes a moment to breathe and think before he reacts. And this is a habit that I have adopted myself, and have realized that as I take the time to think how I might react best, when the solution comes, I generally feel a massive sense of relief. Usually when I'm seeking an aha moment, it's in response to a problem. And I'm sure you all understand that same feeling of relief when you finally realize this is how I'm going to do it. I said the same thing to my wife last night. I got a call around 6:30 from the CEO of our company, and he said, I want you to run this, show me this scenario, and we'll talk about it first thing in the morning. And of course, as you've all done, you say, yeah, sure, no problem, I'll have it for you, great. And immediately panicked when I put the phone down. And then I realized you only panic when you don't understand how you're going to approach the problem. Once you've taken a moment, you breathe, you think how you'll react, and you build a plan, the panic subsides and you feel a general sense of relief. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Great, wonderful response. Thanks, Steve. Let me go to the third one. So who's our next volunteer? I promise it's going to be a simple, I'll not make it difficult. So feel free to raise your hand. Okay, okay, Bullet, good.
Let's go. It sounds like last time it led to some, I planted some seeds that flourished. So make it easy for me or make it challenging.
Yeah, it's going to be simple. So Bullet, here is your question. Do you remember any moment or incident that was almost aha moment, but it did not turn out to be exactly aha moment?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, dear fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. An almost aha moment. I seek a lot of aha moments in books. Books are where I lose myself to find new ideas and new stories. And that's where I look to collect dots. And often what happens is I collect those dots and then they become constellations and you can draw and they somehow connect. Not always those dots are new. And I read a lot to make sure that I can gather as many new ideas as possible. So I get really excited about a book. I buy it off Amazon. I can't wait for it to arrive. It comes and I read through it and there's nothing in there. So that's my almost aha moment. It mostly happens in books where I chase them, but it also doesn't happen because I have a tendency to find books that I know I'm going to enjoy. So every once in a while, I get one of those books and regret it. So that's an almost aha moment. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the insight, Bullet. As always, you're phenomenal in attempting these questions and giving the response. Thank you for that. Do I have a time for one more question, Jimmy?
Yes, let me check to see. You said you wanted to go for one more question?
Yeah, if the time permits, otherwise I would go for the timer's report.
I think we do have.
That would be that would be for Sean to call, but no, I think we're
Yeah,
right on schedule. So
Yeah,
so I think we do have one more minute.
Okay, perfect. So now this time I'll take the liberty to call out the person and I would ask that question to that person. So David, this question is to you. And the reason I ask you, because I think you are one of the senior most members. So the question to you, David, is do you have any aha moment from any of the Toastmasters meeting so far? If yes, what would that be?
My aha moments is going to be a little sassy and sarcastic as always, but thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that question. Just by a quick show of hands, has anybody here been out to dinner or some kind of event since, COVID's kind of gotten away? Anybody? Come on, everybody. So the question of my aha moment is, if you've been out to dinner, why are you not here tonight? There's no difference between you going out to dinner and being here. And that's why I want Natalie to do our mixer pretty soon, because if you all come to the mixer, then it's like, why are you at the mixer and you're not here? So that's my aha moment to get everybody to raise their hand and say, yeah, we've been out. So it's not about you going out, it's about you committing to coming here to Toastmaster and practicing your skill in person. And that'll be my aha moment. And I'm under time, but we're also kind of close. So I'll cut it off there. Thanks, Avinash.
Thank you. Thank you, David. I think we couldn't have expected a better answer than this. Thank you for that. So yeah, with that, I'll conclude this section and request Jimmy to give the timers report.
Yes, thank you, Table Topics Master. For the table topics, we have Jamie that came in at 1 minute and 42 seconds. He qualifies. That was a great response from him. Stuart actually came in at 1 minute and 37 seconds. Qualifies. Great response as well. Balut had a really good out of the box answer for that question. He qualifies as well for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And David, I kind of saw the punchline coming with that one. With 45 seconds, he qualifies as well. So,
thank you, Jimmy.
back to you.
Thanks for that. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Avinash. So the time is running down. We're getting close, and our next session is the general evaluation session, where we provide critical feedback to our members and to the speakers, and also to the meeting in general. And tonight we have another senior member of our club, Natalie, serving as the general evaluator. She's gonna introduce the rules and take over from there. Thank you. Natalie.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. As your general evaluator, I'm going to provide an overview of the meeting towards the end of my session, but we're going to kick things off with individual evaluations for our speaker this evening. Our first speakers this evening. Our first evaluation will be from David for Ali's speech. So I'll hand it over to David.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. All right, Ali, you had good insight into real estate. That was the word of the day, everybody. It's supposed to be using insight. And you get points for, of course, being here. But I felt like it was a presentation. I felt like I was in a workshop, and it was a nice real estate, seminar. Like I paid for it, you were doing it. And I think this is a place to come do it. You come to Toastmasters to practice not only your speaking, but also presentation. So you know how it works and how the flow is. So I think it was perfect to practice something like that here. Second, you don't know this, but Ali came to the meeting early to make sure that the share screen worked, and he had to download his little program to everybody. So that was, or into my computer. So that was great that, he just prepared for it, and you have to come here and prepare for it and just download it. So that was another great thing he did. In the beginning, he brought humor to the speech. I'm talking like you're not even here. You brought humor to the speech, and you got everybody's laughing. And then another great prop was your shirt, because you're talking about real estate. You got a real estate shirt on. So those are all great things. The only area for room for improvement, you probably didn't realize it, but it changed about halfway through the speech, was since you were using the mic, we couldn't hear you. Like you were just very low. I think you were just playing to the Zoom audience where we struggled to hear you, but after a while you got cranking, so we were able to hear you. So that was the only thing, is just to project more, even if you're using a microphone. And finally, there's two different times where you put the mic down, where you just kind of shook your head. It was great dramatics. It was our nonverbal communication. I think that's a big part of what we do. So those were two very awesome things, especially in a workshop where you're going to be trying to keep everybody's audience going. Use your hand gestures. You also used the stage here, which was great. And you had vocal variety up and down, different tones, speed it up, slow it down. And I think that's all I had overall. Great speech, and look forward to your next one. Mrs. General Evaluator.
Thanks so much, David, for that very thorough evaluation of Ali's speech. Our second evaluator this evening is Balut, who will be evaluating Elvis. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and our guests. And most importantly, Elvis. What a pleasure having the privilege to evaluate your speech. I'm going to break my evaluation down into 3 parts. The first part is what you excelled at. The second one is what you may want to consider working on. And third part is taking it from good to great, what you might want to consider doing to challenge yourself. First, you excelled at several areas. To start us off, you were standing up. You had stage presence, if you will. Virtual, I know we're virtual and you're limited by the camera, but by standing up and claiming your space, you made sure that your audience felt that you were in control. That was really well. You started off your speech with an engaging question, and the questions were there were many of those questions, so the engagement kept coming. It wasn't just a one-off and back to the speech. It was very engaging that everybody at one point raised their hand. So that was really good to start off your speech with, because you got our attention immediately. Third is your pace was calm, collected, and not rushed. And that was excellent, because we could hear your points, we could understand your speech really, really well. And last but not least, content. You talked a lot about the importance of social media at the beginning. So you took us from interest, okay, I have a social media account, to, wow, this is important, I now really care about this. And again, with your content, you drew on from your personal experiences, and that made us care about not just social media, but about your story with social media and how that played out. So, and again, on the content side, you ended with a summary that was very powerful. You made it clear to your audience that you're bringing this home, and you had a very clear ending sentence. That was awesome. Switching gears, what you may want to work on. The first is structure and organization. Even though you had a structure in your mind, I felt a little bit lost at certain points. So you could give us a roadmap at the beginning of your speech and say, here are the 4 things I'm going to tell you today. And that would really give us a sense of where we are in your speech and where we're headed. And then second thing you may want to work on is having your points be more concise and compelling. Your ending sentence, it was great that it was there and it had a space for it, and it had an impact, but there were a lot jammed packed in there. So if you could break that down into 3 or 4 points, that would land so much more powerfully for your audience. And last but not least, to challenge yourself, I encourage you to experiment with vocal variety as well as pace variety. That would add a little bit more color to your speech and make it pop. Thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Balut, for those great insights shared with Elvis and all of us. We definitely also took notes, and I'm learning too. Now I'd like to ask Jimmy for a timers report for both of our evaluators.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. David qualifies with a time of 2 minutes and 1 second. That was a great evaluation on Ali's performance for his speech. And Balut did a very thorough evaluation and squeezed everything in. And I think it was clear, it was to the point at 3 minutes and 25 seconds. So he qualifies as well. Right there at close to the line, but it was definitely, I think it was very clear and to the point. Great job, everybody.
Thanks so much, Jimmy.
Back to you. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to provide an evaluation of the full meeting. I just want to say congratulations, Sean. It's your first time hosting and serving as Toastmaster. Great job on the theme. I love that AHA came to you on Sunday as you were getting ready. I thought as soon as I came on that your background was just perfect. And I had actually written a note and Balut commented. So I'm so happy that you made that decision, and it was like instant notice. I also wanted to just give kudos for joining early and being online and David in person to make sure that things were running smoothly, that all the roles were filled. And also just shout out to David with the new toys with the microphone. And I saw the background set up with the ribbons. So both on Zoom and in person, very well set up. We kicked things off on time, and we are pretty much on track for the meeting to end on time this evening. Everyone did an amazing job filling their roles. I thought the transitions were also very smooth. There was only just a little bit of confusion between switching table topics, and if we could have a little bit more of an extension in terms of time for that. Usually it's the Toastmasters call, but it was tossed over to the timer, so no big deal, but just to clarify for future meetings. And Sean, I also wanted to give you credit for teaching us something new and sharing insights on how the assembly line was created. I didn't know that our car assembly line was inspired by our food system. So that was really interesting for me. Avinash, great story too. That was very insightful lesson to give us and to just have us noodle over so that we can lighten our loads with the things that we carry. Overall, I think this was a fantastic meeting as always. I know because of summer, we have less people, but the energy is always here. And I learned so much from each of you. So I'm extremely grateful. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Bailey, who will give us the grammarian's report for the night.
Thanks, Natalie. So great job, everybody. A common theme throughout the meeting was a lot of ums and uhs. So I'm going to just go through the list here. Sorry, I might have missed some with the connection and everything. I could have missed some or made too many, so I apologize. So what I heard was Sean had about 2 ums and 4 uhs. Avinash had 8 ah. Jimmy had an and an ah. Ollie had 1 ah. Elvis, I didn't catch anything during your speech. David had 4 ums and 5 ahs. Jamie had about 8 ahs. Stuart had an Balut had 3 uhs and 3 ums. And then Natalie had about 3 ums and 3 ahs. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that used the word of the night, which was insight. I believe it was Sean, Jamie, David, and Natalie. So thank you for incorporating that into the meeting today. And that's all I have. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bailey. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and really participate and provide interesting stories. And I particularly love David's trick answer to the trick question. I almost thought they were actually partnered up together, try to encourage up to show up and in the church. And without further ado, I think we're projecting to end up this meeting on time. And I'm gonna pass it to David to see if he has further announcements.
All right. Thank you, Sean. You did a great job first time, so appreciate it. Well, didn't have to be your first time. It was just a great job in general. So great. All right. So we're going to do Little League football and baseball tonight, where everybody gets a participation award because I don't know, the polling's been having trouble. So everybody who did table topics, you get a ribbon for doing them. But we're especially going to give one to Jamie because he's here and it's his first time. So congrats, Jamie. And wait, one more. There's also, he's our newest member. So new members get little welcome to the club type awards. And now he got 2 for tonight. Best evaluator, of course, goes to Balut because as president, I never win anything. So that's for Balut. And our best speaker goes to Ali and to Elvis, but Ollie's here in person and he likes it. You never got a new member thing, did you? Yeah, he loves his ribbons. So I want to make sure he got his ribbons. He's a motivation. Yeah. And wow, this is going to be the first time we finish on time. I encourage everybody to sign up for next week's roles. We have Natalie and then Balut. Balut's doing a long speech, so we're just going to have the 2 of them, but it is going to be a full meeting because I think his is 15 to 20 minutes or something like that. And I'm looking forward to it. Natalie, we're going to have a little fun with Natalie next week because that's part of her speech. So you'll see next week what happens with her speech. I have to interrupt her. but it'll be fun. And any officer announcements out there?
Not an officer announcement. It's just a special request and I'll drop it in the group as a reminder. But please can everyone bring a glass of water with them to the next meeting? If you're in person, don't worry about it.
We provide water here in person, 3 bottles of water. FYI, I know I need to talk to Balut. Oh, I'm going to tell Balut because I need to order some more water, and we get snacks here. So now that the COVID's not here, we can have little snacks. We always provide those here. And Stuart, sorry, didn't recognize you not in person. This is the first time. I was like, who's this guest? So, and
No worries.
yeah. And anything else? Anybody else have an announcement? Doesn't have to be an officer announcement. Oh, just Sean, thank you for saying I'm a senior person here, but I'm just a president. Actually, Elvis at this point is the most senior. I think he's been here much longer than I have. So, but other than that, I don't really have anything. We just close out the meeting and hopefully see y'all next week. And see y'all then.
See you. Thanks.
Balut,
Bye.
did we need to talk? Balut, did we need to talk real quick about Saturday?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's
Did you get all that information from her? I mean, is the audit done, or do you?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I just got a bunch of folders access, and I looked at them. It was like a random file in each of them, but I'm not sure what to do with them.
You're just supposed to review, each of the financial documents to make sure, month after month it makes sense, and to see if you see anything that doesn't make sense. So, the money isn't the same the following month. There should be an accountability for everything. So you're just looking at all the financials to make sure it works. Just in case, Elvis, you didn't know, Balut is now the District 37 audit chairman. So, yeah. But I know Elvis was your formal committee, but he's unavailable to do it. So but I will send you my little report and my speech in an email. It's like, so Saturday morning you have to give a speech about the audit, and you say, all right, good night, thanks.
Tim reached out to me and said, it's okay for this first time if you just introduce yourself and say that you've helped with the audit committee before and you're excited to get started. So
okay,
he's
I
not
thought they wanted
expecting
it
an
done by
audit.
then. Okay, so it doesn't have to be done
No.
by Saturday. Okay,
No.
that was going to be tough. It's like,
I don't have time. I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like I found out about the meeting way too late, and I have travel plans on Saturday. So
yeah, because
I'll be in the car, and that's how I'll be dialing in. But do they happen once a month?
No, that's twice a year for that. Yeah. Yeah. So no, that's not a monthly thing. It's after you actually complete the audit. Usually, then you have to present it to the DEC, and then, which I don't know what it stands for. I guess district something, executive committee. That would make sense. But you have to give that report twice to 2 different committees. But obviously you can't do it till it's done. So that makes sense. You're just going to introduce yourself. And if you're not there, if you're unable, then I have to be there for my training as a area director, so I can speak on your behalf. But if you're there, then that would be better. But you're like the first one to go.
I'll be there. I may just be in the car and off video and on mute for the rest of it, but I'll be there.
Sounds good. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
For the snacks and water, I trust your judgment. Just send me the receipts, and you can buy it. I think you have a card, so.
Yeah, because I mean, we have enough waters for now. I bought like a big family 15 pack. I just put on my own, I just bought myself. But main things like we buy usually little chips or something like that, little bags of chips, individuals like snacks. And we have Dum Dum lollipops back there from like 2 years ago, but they're still good. But yeah, so we usually spend maybe $10 a month on snack and water, but we're okay. I'll probably just get some snacks for next time. So
yeah, so long as you send me the receipt, we're good.
All right.
Cool.
Hey guys, good night.
Good night, everybody.
I have one last thing.
Take care.
I have one last thing. Elvis, you sent me the Google Drive. It said how to request access for. Do I just basically just type a message in, or does it go just specifically to you and then I get access that way?
Oh, you didn't have access to it?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll add you to the, okay, share,
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
sorry. Yeah,
share group.
I was out and about, and I saw it, and then I marked it back as unread, so I wouldn't so that I wouldn't forget.
I see. Apologies for that. So I'll look it up and then I'll add you to that list.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
All righty. Well,
All right. Appreciate everybody.
all right. Take care.
Get there.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks.